Proverbs 23:4 says this: do not toil to acquire wealth. Be discerning enough to desist. The Bible does use the word desist. It is a synonym for restrain. I think this is a strong proverb because it says, do not toil to acquire wealth. So the connection of toiling and don't toil isn't do not toil. We see that the earth is cursed, and we were called to work, but then after the curse and sin entered the world, it says the ground will produce thorns and thistles, and by the sweat of our brow we will work. All right, so we see that there is toil for us, but it says do not toil to acquire wealth. So one, toil in its simplest form is part of what we were called to do, and it's part of the lot, the destiny of man, being creation, not man, woman, but man in creation. That's part of our lot, is to toil. But it's saying, in trying to find meaning within your toil, don't make it about wealth. The modern day phrase would say, do not toil to keep up with the Joneses. Do not toil to meet this standard. Do not toil to be justified by this standard, or what neighborhood you have, the car you drive, the wife you possess, where your children grow, how they grow up, what they grow up to be. Do not toil to acquire wealth. Wealth has a sense of status to it. Again, this is Solomon talking. So who more wise, or who best to talk about this than Solomon? But he says, be discerning to desist, to restrain. And so he's saying is that in toil, wealth may come. And we see that it came for Solomon. But in your heart, if that's why you're getting out of bed is to acquire wealth, if you look at Solomon, once he had it and he came into it, he really, some would say he got bored. He got bored with thinking that acquiring the wealth would satisfy his soul. But he's saying, as a warning, he says, be discerning enough to desist, to restrain. Restrain what? From the temptation of trying to find meaning and toil in wealth. All right? Why is a person who already has millions want more millions? Because they're trying to find some meaning in life, right? And so he's saying restrain from that temptation. So if you were writing the proverb, you probably should write it like this in light of what he's saying. Toil not to acquire wealth, but toil to live for the kingdom. And be discerning when you're living for the kingdom and when you're living for yourself. Because it's in living for the kingdom that you will find ultimate satisfaction of one's soul, and that will bring meaning to your monotony. But it's in living for this world that even trying to bring meaning to your monotony, you will still fall into monotony, which is the continuous mundane cycle of life, trying to make up things to break that rhythm, when in a sense you're still going through the same rhythm, just putting a different dressing on it. So hopefully that challenges you from the words of Solomon, that do not make toil about wealth. Don't try to find meaning in it. And do be the person who is discerning enough to restrain themselves from trying to find meaning in toil through wealth. God bless.